Hello, freak bitches. It's super complex, and I guess that makes sense. It makes sense that it would be. Now, when someone boils it down to something that's really woo-woo, like, what in the bleep do we know? But how is that very frustrating to you? Like, that must make you communicating with people that have seen that and have these ideas that are false assumptions based on it. Sort of like I said to you that atoms are mostly hollow.
Yeah.
What is that frustrating? I mean, what is that like?
It's frustrating at different levels. I think my first impulse is to be charmed and happy when people care, right? When people are even interested, honestly.
Well, that's very positive of you.
I first want to give people credit and see if there's something inside them that we can work with and try to work toward the truth, right? But then, and I think most people maybe are like that, and there's some hardcore people who have made up their minds about the craziness. I mean, you see where it would come from, right? Because quantum mechanics says what the world is different than what we see when we look at it. So it's a small leap from that correct statement to we bring the world into existence by looking at it, right? And then you're Deepak Chopra. And Deepak, he's found me on Twitter, so whenever I tweet something about quantum mechanics, he, retweets it with something, but it's all in your mind, it's all consciousness bringing the world into existence.
He loves word salad.
Yeah.
That guy is the biggest, dealer of word salad that the world has ever known.
And the genius is putting the word salad into a recipe that people think is nutritious for them, right? they really like to eat, even though there's no actual nutritional value.
Well, you get a lot of that from certain yoga classes. There's certain yoga classes that I go to where the yoga teacher will start talking some woo-woo shit, and you're be in the middle of the pose, and you're like, what in the fuck is this guy going on about, man?
I do it too, and as long as the pose is helping me, I'm going to put up with that.
Yeah, I'll smile my way through it.
I'm not going to debate them right in the middle of.
But it's weird that stuff is all that's all sort of kind of in that sort of genre of people that are trying to improve their life or be spiritual, or they love that Deepak Chopra shit. I had this conversation with a friend of mine who's he gave me a Deepak Chopra book. And I started going through it, and I was like, this guy's crazy, right? He probably wants to do well. He's probably not a terrible person. He probably wants to do well. But he's also ignoring the actual scientists that study all this stuff. Yeah. And he's sort of pitching this thing that what it is, this Deepak Chopraism, this sort of spiritual, pseudo quasi spiritual view of the world that he's pitching to these middle-aged housewives that are looking for some sort of a meaning to life, but they don't like going to church.
Yeah, and Daniel Dennett, the philosopher, came up with a great word for it. He calls them deepities, when you string some words together in a way that sounds extremely profound, but you look closely at it and doesn't actually mean anything at all.
There's a website that'll do that for you.
Oh, the Deepak Chopra quote generator. Yes, that's right. It's not that hard. I would like to laugh, but there's another website that comes up with random physics paper titles, and it's not that different.
It's not that different.
You can usually tell when it's a random physics paper title.
But the physics stuff it's almost. I guess there's similar issues with the reason why Deepak can do that is because most people don't understand what he's talking about. So if you say a lot of stuff about things that people don't understand, there's been a bunch of videos that we played on this podcast about fake martial arts practitioners. Right. There's a whole business in these people that have these fake martial arts techniques, and they use all these huge words that are very, very rare about the central nervous system and about the structure of the body, and they'll use all this stuff to try to get you to think this guy obviously has an enormous vocabulary and a deep understanding of anatomy. He must therefore be this chi master that he's pretending to be. And it's kind of very similar. So I kind of recognize that pattern in the woo-woo people. I'm like, I kind of see what you're doing. You're throwing a bunch of very complicated words that aren't in most people's vernacular, and you're saying them in a way that makes me feel like you have some sort of a connection to the chi and to the chakras and to the inner whatever that everybody's trying to reach to be happy.
Yeah, and another problem is just that whenever there is a field, whether it's physics or medicine or whatever, where we know something, but it's hard, complicated, counterintuitive, when we explain it, we translate it, right? You know, in physics, we have mathematical equations that are quite unambiguous as to what they say, but then we use words. We say, well, there's a cloud, there's a probability, etc. And every translation is inaccurate in some sense. So if you're basing your beliefs off the translations, then you can fudge them a little bit more to get almost wherever you want to go.